Took a really long time coming up with a topic for this assignment. I'm a senior and there are 5 days left of the entire high school career, so the amount of thought that I want to put into anything at this point is pretty low. I was finally getting somewhere, 14 slides in actually, when my poor overworked computer refused to save it, then shut out of pages as I was attempting to delete documents and make space for my planning sheet. I was not happy. In fact, I was so upset that I not only switched computers but topics. I was struggling through the original topic anyway, so I hoped that by writing on the emotional high of coming out alive after running with the beast that is technology, this topic would go down better. The topic being, of course, technology itself. These things are supposed to be personal, right? Well, I cannot think of anything that has been as personally frustrating nor as personally advantageous in my advancement than technology. It is everywhere. Need an example? When my high school laptop ran out of space, I picked up my college laptop. The concept of a laptop is rather new for my parents and almost completely foreign for my grandparents. There's plenty of ways to split up generations of humans by age like this, but in my mind there are 4 generations of human by phones that are still alive today. Not even technology, just phones. First, we have those who grew up with rotary or push-button phones laying around their home. You know, the ones where they sat on the table instead of the wall. Second, there are those ever-loved wall phones that my parents always loved talking about. According to them, you had to stay in the room to answer or make a call, which was awful, but you could slam down the phone down when you were angry, which was awesome. Some people in the second generation even have really nice, really big cell phones in their youth. Generation 3 grew up with disconnected house phones and the new novel invention called the flip phone. This was my generation. The house phones of my youth could be picked up and then taken anywhere. Anger could still be expressed with the flip phone, though. There is nothing quite like slamming the phone closed. The fourth generation will never feel this satisfaction. This generation is the generation of smartphones. Half of them don't even own a house phone anymore. Phones throughout generations has changed drastically as well. Generation 1 is more likely to call a person, while Generation 2 will text and call intermittently. Generation 3, however, would rather wait to talk to a person the next time they actually see them to make a phone call. Texting and face-to-face conversation are their only acceptable forms of communication. Generation 4 hardly texts nor calls. Their phones instead are more commonly used for app play. It's crazy to think how fast the move from rotary phones to smartphones happened. Alexander Graham Bell used the first working phone in 1876, 141 years ago. Seems like a long time, but when the first phone looks like this and the phone in your pocket is about 10 times more efficient, 30 times more common, and third the size, although statistics being completely pulled out of nowhere, of course, but you get the idea, then it starts to get more impressive. Within the last couple of years, there have been significant advances in technology. Brilliant minds have been the key to the success of this age by being the first to expand new horizons, deny the accusations of the internet being a fad, and invest in the growth of this new institution. Geniuses at the beginning age were able to not only benefit society but also themselves. Bill Gates was named the world's wealthiest man this year, and he founded Microsoft all the way back in 1975. He's not even the CEO anymore. This just proves how incredibly important technology has become to our society. I don't even know a person who has never used a Microsoft PC before. Even the Apple Mac people have used a PC at some point. In this day and age, it's probably fair to say that the PC people have probably used a Mac at some point as well. No matter who I'm talking to, though, I surely would never have to explain what a Mac or PC is. It is common knowledge. Now we're halfway through this presentation, and I've detailed the advancements of the age of technology in a fairly positive light. It connects us and modernizes us. But don't think I forgot how I started this whole thing. Sure, technology can be good, great even. There's no denying the humanitarian use of technology advancements or the entertainment use of virtual reality advancements, but my gosh, does all this advancement come with frustrations. People 142 years ago didn't have to worry about it. 142 years ago, students, what few there were not worried about the frustration of taking standardized tests on a computer. First of all, they did not have computers. Second of all, they did not have standardized tests. But even a decade ago, computers were not as integrated into schools enough for this to be an issue. However, 5 years ago, I definitely felt the adverse effects of progress when I was switching my computer for the 5th time in the middle of I-step because the first 4 broke down. Freshmen and sophomores who took I-step this year did not have that problem. We had evolved again from the slow-chucking desktop computers to iPads being the norm, nay, the requirement in school, so I-step went now without a hitch. Many of these students, though, have at one point or other discovered how easy it is to actually cheat from this popularization of iPads, and again, we run into a problem with technology that the students love but the teachers hate. But we evolved again, and some very smart people created some very smart apps that locked the screen on one single site until the teachers released the students. There would almost be no issue with progress if it were not so progressive. Never any instant perfection when it comes to technological advancement. Every device has to get there by traveling through many various imperfect and annoying stages first. But technology still is not perfect. Apps require updates seemingly every few weeks. Anyone who has tried to use Siri, anyone who has been stuck in a group message on a non-Apple product, anyone who has been misunderstood and humiliated by spell check knows that in order to reach a place of semi-quasi-perfection, technology still has a long way to go, because it is supposed to be easy and is still extremely frustrating. I may not have to switch seats 5 times during a test, but I do have to remember to plug in 3 devices on a consistent basis. It may seem like I complain too much about this topic, that I should appreciate how much easier my life has been because of technology, and I do, but technology is still frustrating. Sure, it's a different kind of frustration from when you would move the wrong way and your Walkman would skip your song, but it's still frustrating. So here's my question, why settle? Do you think we got here today because people reasoned, well, my life is easier than when the Black Plague was decimating Europe, so I should be happy and leave it? No, of course not. It is okay to want the best for yourself and others. Yes, others. I want my friends to be happy in all aspects of their lives, so why not technology? When full video assignments delete somehow off of iMovie, when set assignments refuse to upload into the teacher's Canvas page, whenever a friend runs into a technology problem, I get frustrated right there with them because I've been there. I understand. We don't offer much empathy in this cruel modern society, but boy, does it come out in waves when someone is grappling with the tortures of technology. Technology can cultivate empathy in other ways too, of course. The connections made through YouTube may ultimately be fake, but that does not stop them from comforting a person who feels the same way as their favorite YouTube star. Of course, the scope and coverage of YouTube has its frustrations as well. Where do you think this breaking news phenomenon is coming from? Because I can guarantee you, most of the fake information circulating around is not actually from established news stations. Fake information is leaked through the internet all the time. Social media sites especially cultivate this issue. Anyone can post anything, and that is hardly an exaggeration. Founders like Mark Zuckerberg have been attempting to prevent plagiarism. The higher-ups in YouTube are especially good at this kind of censoring, but the simplicity of stealing property is just one of many ways that social media is a frustration to society. Making fake relationships and sharing incorrect news are just two examples. And by no means arguing that the freedom social media gives to share and express ideas is a bad thing. I'm merely pointing out that it can be frustrating. It's also important to point out that the system put in place to currently try and limit these frustrations are not currently perfect. Type any song to YouTube, especially an older one, and then add the word lyrics to the end of it, and you'll have instant proof that YouTube's copyright protection is not 100% foolproof. We are currently progressing in our protection. Knows what Generation 5 will grow up with. Maybe they'll have talking holograms like in Star Wars, or maybe they'll have direct messaging in their social media apps and not actually ever use a texting or calling function. Two things are certain though. The poor kids will still be frustrated, and I'm most definitely not going to be the last person to ever lose their assignment when they're already 3/4 of the way through.